I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am ready, and my name is Alex, and I'm joined today by the lovely Androlomew over in Belgium. How you doing?
Is that my new nickname? Is it Androlomew now?
No, Ali has a bone to pick with you about that. I think Ali, and my wife Ali, she's here as always. Do you want to explain to people why he's Androlomew?
Well, it was basically the year we started talking to you.
Yeah.
Well, when we first met, at least,
Yeah.
I remember asking you if Andy was short for something.
Oh,
Like-
yeah, I sort of remember that.
I was just like, maybe there's something else, like Andrew, I don't know, some weird Belgian name. And you were like, yeah, it's Androlomew. And I was like, that's fucked up
I
name.
totally forgot
And
about that.
Yeah, and I generally thought it was for like 4 hours, and then you were like, no, my name is not Androlomew. And I was like, well, fuck you.
So from now on, henceforth, he is
Yeah,
Androlomew.
I just thought that was a very ridiculous question to ask. Like, is Andy short for anything? Like, what the fuck could it... oh, maybe Andrew. Andrew could be like...
Yeah, I mean, Andrew.
Andy.
Maybe in Belgium you have some other fucking weird name like
There's
Androlomew.
one I've never understood why they abbreviate it the way they do. Richard. You know the abbreviation?
Dick?
Yeah, Dick. Why is it Dick?
He's a fucking dick. You know, this is true. This is not even a lie. I grew up and we had a family friend, and they had a friend called Richard Staines.
So
and
it's Dick Staines?
Yeah, and I'm not joking. That was legitimately the guy's name. And I'm like, wow.
I want to bet like at least 200 euros that his dad got to pick the name. It had to be the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, look, we'll wait till we know his personality before we name him. Like, oh, fuck this cunt. He's a dick stain.
Well, he basically could have been.
I mean, he could have.
It started
That's
out
very
as
true.
a dick stain.
Well, I'm sorry for trying to be polite, and I didn't know your culture, so I just wanted to ask.
I didn't know your culture. My culture is being taken over by the Germans in pretty much any other country. Like, that's as far as we go in Belgium. Oh, and
you just sit there and eat your French fries
right,
while you
and,
wait.
right, and
Or your fries.
and supplying like 50% of the world with weapons. Like, that's also something Belgium does for some reason. And owning the banana. Apparently, we own like a shitload of bananas as well. So there you go.
that's what happens when you colonize half a fucking Africa.
No, this is what you come to that random podcast to learn about. That Belgium owns banana plantations.
I swear to God, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I do not want to do an episode on the history of Belgium because...
Yeah, don't. It's
like,
very dark.
What did you guys do to the Congo or whatever again?
Oh, God, just don't even... Like, I'm ashamed... Have I talked about this, that we had a certain zoo on the podcast before? I think I did.
I don't know if we've said it directly on the podcast, but
Yeah.
we know we've talked about it.
I think you've told us,
That's,
like, privately.
Yeah, but that's so fucking fucked up. Like, who has that? And that's my heritage. That's where I come from. There's like...
Do you want to say what it is?
It's...
No, I
Oh,
don't.
God. It's a...
Do you know what? Google Belgium...
Belgium.
I don't know. What do you call it?
I think it was like an expo or something at one point. Like, it was fucked up. I'm gonna tell you this in advance. Just type in... there's only one
Just
way you
do
can find
Belgium
it. Yeah.
Black History, and
Yeah.
you will
No, maybe
see.
don't do that. Just type in Belgium Black People Zoo and you like
No, and then you said it.
That's what it was.
that is basically what it was. And the fucked up thing, I actually found a historical picture of when Belgium had that. And there was a sign that said, I can't remember if it's French or in Dutch that it says, but there was a sign with the cage, like the fence, because these people were within fences. There was a sign that said,
Christ.
"Please do not feed the black people."
Lovely.
So they were literally like fucking like God, it's
If we put it like this, the Belgium colonized in history, it's something else. The only image that I have in my head is like two little Belgium kids with a cage to their chest with a black child in the cage.
yeah.
That image,
And we should
like,
probably just leave it there
just
if you
stop
wanna
it
know.
because like it's horrifying.
Yeah,
on.
but if you're
Debbie Downer.
if you're a person of color, please don't look up Belgium. I love you.
Yeah, don't visit Belgium. I don't.
I
Don't
like
go there.
genuinely
Look, the only thing
do anything to make it up to you. I'll suck your dick. I'll lick your clit if my wife allows it.
You're disgusting.
I gotta do
what
something.
if the person listening is a child? You've
Yeah.
just
I'll
committed a
do
crime.
it anyway. I am so committed
Alright,
to
well,
this.
we'll move on.
Jesus Christ.
We'll,
Okay,
we'll
let's
move
cut
on.
this off.
We'll go
Like,
from one train wreck to another one because. So let's get to what the fuck we're actually doing here.
That was disgusting.
So I think it's been fair to say the last two. I mean, the last one was like, I wouldn't say it was a light hitter, but it was like in the middle.
Yeah, it was good.
Ali basically throwing shade at snowflakes about vaccines, and before that we talked about weird shit you find in your attic.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna come back with Have you been watching the news in the last like 2 weeks?
I used to watch the news, but it kept changing, so I stopped.
Yeah, it's pretty bad
Yeah.
at that, isn't it? Have you heard about the missing submarine?
No, I haven't.
Indonesian submarine.
I
Well, it's
think
not
I
missing.
saw something pop up on like Facebook or whatever, but I didn't really.
Story like a plot warning or whatever. Spoiler. It sank. But we're gonna talk about it a little bit. But before we do that, I have a question. This is you get a 1v1 because I told Ali I might do a quiz and I was like, fuck, I can't be bothered. But you get one question. We're gonna see who wins.
Okay.
Are you ready? Since the year 2000, how many submarine incidents or accidents have there been? Just give me like a range of like within 10, 0 to 10, 10 to 20. Like crashes, fires, explosions. How many would you say?
100.
Since the year 2000.
I'm gonna guess since the year 2000. It's 2021,
20
dude.
years.
Yep.
But crashes.
Crashes, fires, groundings.
200.
How many would you think?
275. I'm going way up there.
Jesus. Andy's gone way up there.
36.
38. So Ali was very close.
Ah, yeah. I think I'm closer.
38. But when you think about it, that's pretty fucked up. Like, we don't hear like a fucking warship crashes twice a year. But submarine, when you're underwater, yeah, they seem at least about twice a year. Some poor fuckers die or get set on fire.
Who's the asshole that lighted that cigarette? Right.
Actually, there was a story in Miami. Some guy that was working on a dock when they were like retrofitting an American submarine.
Yeah.
He wanted to go on vacation, so he burnt down the submarine in like 2015. Like he set it on fire, so he didn't have to work. Little did he know it was probably very much a federal offense.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know if I want to go in on Monday. You're actually giving me ideas.
But I don't think you get thrown in the clink for destroying $100 million submarine either.
Yeah,
That's government property.
Yeah.
So also, just quickly, have you seen Das Boot, the German film from 1981?
No, whatsoever.
You have to watch it. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I
It's based on-
actually don't. I really don't.
No, you have to.
It's actually good.
Is it?
It's brilliant.
Wait, is this the one with Sean
Alex
Connery?
was going on for like.
No. This is a German film where they film on an actual submarine, and it's about being a submariner in World War II and like during the war. And they filmed it on a real submarine, and they show like how claustrophobic and like fucked up being on submarines is.
Okay.
Alex
the
was going
horror.
on for like 3 months, like, we have to watch it. And I was like, I can't be bothered.
And she doesn't like war movies. Actually,
Yeah.
No, it's not.
really.
Shut the fuck. Stop talking so much shit. Like, who gave you permission to be such a fucking asshole, just spewing out shit constantly? Shut up. I like war movies, But I just wasn't feeling a 3.5-hour movie in a German movie. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But then you watched it.
And then I watched it.
The way she describes it, 3 hours and a half, German, that sort of puts me off as well, Alex.
No, but it is actually really good. Like, I'm actually really grateful we watched it. It is really good.
Okay.
But all right, so fuck it, let's get into it. So
All
if you
right.
haven't heard, like, what is this? Like the 1st of May 2021. So literally like 10 days ago or something, an Indonesian submarine called the Nanggala, like, disappeared.
Yeah.
On April 21st, 2021.
Well,
Nanggala.
Nanggala, I think it was. It was like a diesel electric submarine, so it wasn't like one of those new, nuclear subs that the Americans have. It was actually first commissioned ordered in 1977. So what's that, like 45 years old?
yeah, something like that.
That just went, it disappeared. So it was like, they use it for like intelligence missions in Southeast Asia, like spying basically on other countries in the area. Usually in the Indian Ocean and like the around East Timor and around sort of all over the Indonesian islands.
Is that allowed though? Like, it's widely known that ship was there. Is it allowed to be there? Like, was it in international waters or like?
No, it was in Indonesian waters when it crashed. It was only 95 kilometers off the coast of Bali, island of Bali.
This ship is from Indonesia.
Yeah. So it was on a training exercise.
It's from the Indonesian army, yeah. So okay. So there was no ill intent or whatever.
No, exactly,
Okay, cool.
exactly. So yeah, it was declared missing on the 21st of April, so it's like, literally 10, 11 days ago, because it lost radio contact with personnel on the surface.
Okay.
Because it was on a training run, and they were like, oh, we haven't heard back from these guys yet.
Okay.
And we'll get into what possibly happened later on. It was doing a torpedo exercise in waters north of Bali. So it had during this run, it had fired one missile, like wire-guided torpedo, sorry, not a missile, torpedo. And it also done a test run, and it was about to go down to do another torpedo, like launch. So basically for every torpedo launch, they need permission from their like senior commanders back on the mainland to be like, oh yeah, you have the green light to like dive from the surface of the water, go down to the right depth, and then launch the torpedo. That was at about, I think, 3 a.m. They asked for permission to do this final torpedo launch. The Navy estimated, like at the time it went missing, that they had about 3 days worth of oxygen on board.
Yeah.
So they were like, they weren't that concerned at first. Like, oh, look, maybe there was some technical malfunction with the phone or whatever. Like, it's cool. Don't worry about it. 3 days later, on April 24th, so about a week ago from today's recording, debris was found on the surface of the water from this submarine, and the Indonesian military declared the Nanggala sunk.
Okay.
Just casually.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we'll dig a little bit deeper. This is just like a quick sort of summary shit. The following day, scans like positively confirmed that it was from that submarine, but it was pretty obvious how many submarine parts you're going to find floating on the surface of the fucking ocean.
Not much.
In that exact
You would
location.
hope. I mean,
yeah, you would hope. There were 53 people on board, tragically.
wait, is this another like Zachary Ahmad Shah sort of situation where we're gonna find that like the driver of this boat had a setup in his house where he could fucking dive with a computer and shit like that, and he just wanted to off himself or whatever?
No, actually, the explanations, there's two main ones we're going to get to. They're actually, one of them's really like kind of fucked up.
Okay.
Now that I think, like, I never would have thought about it, and then when I was like reading about it, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to get there a bit later. I should preface this by saying at this point in time, there is no official, they don't know, because they haven't been able to pull the wreckage up because it's on the bottom of the ocean floor.
What was the name of this boat? Sorry.
The Nanggala, Nanggala.
Submarine. All right, cool.
So it is like I said, 53 people died, which is the largest loss of life in a submarine incident since 2003, which I think when a Chinese submarine sank with like 60-something people on board. Yeah, the sub was actually named after a powerful spear wielded by the Hindu god Prabhu Baladewa. And sort of the legend states that the spear was capable of like melting mountains and splitting oceans.
Jesus.
So their insignia, it was actually pretty cool. It's like a round insignia with a crosshair with the water and like a giant spear going through and like an explosion in the middle, like a red, like, you know, fireball type of thing. It was pretty cool. So it has some like cultural significance sort of to the region there. Obviously there, Indonesia's like not even half Hindu, but like bit Hindu and Islamic. So a lot of significance there. So let's get to like the actual disappearance, like what kind of happened.
Okay.
Or the sequence of events.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not every day that a submarine disappears.
Yeah.
So Air Chief Marshal, oh my god, these Indonesian names. My poor white man brain will struggle here. Air Chief Marshal Hadi Shakyanto. It's definitely not that, but that's what I'm running with. He's the commander of the Indonesian National Armed Forces.
Yeah.
Reported on the 21st of April that it was believed to be missing about 95 kilometers north of the island of Bali.
Okay.
Which, if you're an Australian, you know where that is because that's where we all go get drunk and catch chlamydia on vacation.
That's a good mix, actually.
Yeah, it's like Australia's version of like, was it like Malaga? What's the Spanish island everyone goes to?
Canary.
No, the party island. Ibiza. Yeah, it's like Australia's equivalent version of like that.
Oh.
It's like a cheap place to get fucked up and get HIV.
Okay.
A Navy spokesperson stated that the Nanggala had been conducting a torpedo drill but failed to report in its results as expected. So after every launch, they come back with, you know, whatever findings. I don't know what they hope to find by just launching torpedoes at nothing underwater, but
Yeah.
military, you know, whatever. The Nanggala had requested permission to fire this torpedo at 3 a.m. Western Indonesian time, which is about 8 p.m. for us in Europe, like the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And about an hour after being given clearance, the sub lost contact with the surface. Obviously, in the meantime, they'd been talking back and forward while they were slowly diving from the surface down in the water. According to the Navy, the Nanggala should have been like flooding its torpedo tubes in preparation to fire a torpedo around 4 a.m. So about an hour after asking for permission.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sus that around this time, the ship just, see ya.
That's what I'm gonna
See you later.
That's what I'm gonna say to my wife tonight, man. I swear to God, I'm gonna flood your torpedo tubes.
Ew.
It's like the best. It's like the best thing to say.
Should I run with that, Ali, tonight?
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
Just
I'm gonna flood your torpedo. The look on her face.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Hold your breath. You might get the bends. It's an actual thing
I
for
fucking
submarine
can't.
people.
It is. It is.
I'm using the lingo. It's what they say every day. Why can't I say it?
Andy grew up on a boat. He knows all the maritime
I'm
stuff.
in free speech jail again. I can feel it.
It's not you. My anger is not towards you,
Are
Andy.
you angry at these poor Indonesian submariners?
Shut up, Alex. You know who the fuck I'm angry at.
I think.
Yeah, well, you should tell Androlomew to not lie to you and deceive you.
All right,
Got on
so
with the bloody fucking story.
Whatever.
all right, so they essentially flooded their
Well, they were supposed to
tubes.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, around an hour. They were supposed to be around the time they lost contact, getting in, like they flood the torpedo tube in preparation to launch a torpedo. I guess for like pressure, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, because otherwise they would like smack the water and it would probably just like explode on
Explode.
them.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And kill
shit.
them. Yeah,
so
exactly.
Important detail there.
Yeah, kind of. Imagine the first guy that worked that out. Like, they never thought about that. No, hey, man, just launched the fucking torp. Like, boom, oh, shit, what happened? Whoops. We just instantly killed everybody. The Navy, So at 4:25 exactly in the morning, so an hour and 25 minutes after asking for permission to go down and launch the torp, like, that was the last communication.
Yeah,
Since
all right.
then, they've never heard of them ever again. 53 people on board. Never heard of them again after that.
They went looking for their airplane.
Yeah, they were trying to find the airplane. Maybe one of them. Maybe they're joining it down there. But the Navy, like, this is what's so weird to me is the Navy waited until 9:37, which I guess tells you like how secretive militaries are.
Yeah.
They waited almost 5 hours before they sent a distress call to the I didn't know this existed, but there's a thing called the International Submarine Escape and Rescue Liaison Office. which is like some NATO submarine search and rescue thing.
Wait,
And they told them like, hey, our sub's missing, and we just like assume it's sunk.
wait. So
we can't find it.
what is that called? International Subway?
International Submarine Escape and Rescue Liaison Office. All of these weird things I never thought we ever needed, but
Jesus.
there it is. Yeah, they specialize in like submarine search and rescue. And like we said off the top, there's been 38 incidents in 20 years, so I guess they're like kind of busy
Oh,
sometimes.
fuck yeah, that's
Once a
an
year,
actual
twice a
fucking
year.
thing. Jesus.
Yeah, it is a thing. It's a NATO-sponsored thing. The Navy stated, like in the early days, that it was possible that the submarine like had a power outage when it was like
Yeah.
diving down.
Yeah.
And basically, so it just kept going because
Yeah.
they couldn't stop. It has like a crush, what they call like the crush depth, which is like at the point I think the pressure's too much and the
Yeah,
capsule like,
and it would just
crushes
like, implode.
Yeah. Yeah, which is 500 meters,
Which
and they
is-
estimate it.
Fucking awesome, by the way, that can happen.
Probably not if you're inside it.
Yeah, no.
But,
From the
yeah.
outside, you know.
Yeah, sure. It's
Have you ever
impressive.
seen how they do that with a tank, with like a genuine fucking tank? They sometimes do these experiments to see how it would act underwater, and they just suck the air out of a tank, and then you just see it just like suddenly there's pressure
Crumble.
from the outside, and it's just like a giant fucking tank just going floop. It's like if you're in there, you are fucked.
Oh yeah, it's like crushing a piece of paper. Or like
Yeah,
just
oh,
crumple.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
see ya.
There's no more letting your water in your torpedo tubes after that, I can tell you.
Well, no, you're letting all the water in the torpedo tubes.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
And it will never leave. So yeah, they estimate, because obviously they don't know, because no one's going to be dumb enough to test the actual crush depth, like if you're sane. They estimate it was about 500 meters. They think if there was a power outage, it would have gone to 600 or 700 meters. So basically it would have crushed.
Yeah.
So at least they probably would have died quick. That was the initial prognosis.
Yeah.
Sources in the Indonesian Navy reported that the underwater telephone, which I guess is like the phone they use to contact the outside. Oh no, I think they have a buoy like attached phones. If they're stuck underwater, they like put it up around the periscope and it
So you can call?
sits on top of the water.
You can
so they
call
can call down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I want to be the guy to
think
find
they
that
said it-
telephone.
I think they said it had been like defective during the drill, so they had a lot of like communication problems.
Okay.
So maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing, but either way, they had some telephone problems. So
Yeah.
I don't know what these fuckers were doing. I mean, I wouldn't be on a submarine if I couldn't communicate with people. But to be fair, I wouldn't be on a submarine at all. Have you ever been on one?
No, I haven't.
Don't recommend it.
I
I
would.
went on one like
Yeah, I think it's like I to visit it if it's above water, then I'd gladly go. But like if when they tell me, you know, we're going under, I'd probably be like, well, I'll send some smoke signals and start a fire inside, and like I'd be that dumbass. So no,
you mean
submarines.
you'd be in jail on a submarine
Probably,
in the brig.
yeah, probably.
I mean, I went on one at a museum, like a naval museum. I think it was in Gothenburg here in Sweden, but I could be wrong. And dude, like I'm a pretty big person, sure,
Yeah.
like above average, but I'm not like an NBA player freak size. I'm like 194 centimeters. What's that,
Yeah.
like 6'4"? Dude, like
Yeah.
fucking ducking under everything, shoulders like wide enough to like barely fit, walking front on down the fucking hole.
Yeah.
The beds they sleep in, I'm like, I can't even fit in this piece of the
Yeah.
bunk. Like, how do you fit 53 fucking people in here?
That's a thing. Do you think they selectively pick like the small people, like the tunnel rats we
Yes.
used to talk about from
I
Vietnam?
think they do.
probably take specific people for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the same thing with like a lot of military, like flying and stuff. Like you have to be a certain height, like to be qualified.
Isn't it that you have to be taller to be a flight personnel?
No, I'm pretty sure you have to be not too tall. You can't be too tall. You can't be too short.
I guess you can't really adjust the seat, probably. It's like, this is where the seat is.
We
Either
didn't-
you fit or you
We
don't.
didn't invent the seat recliner or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Shit, if we invent the seat recliner, you can't eject.
Make the soldiers smaller.
Yeah, probably, that's true. But okay, so let's go on to the search. So we know, like,
Yeah.
they guess maybe it had a power outage and it's been crushed.
Okay.
So in that day, actually, later that day on the 21st, they sent 3 warships and a bunch of divers just to start looking in the area, because it was like I said, 95 kilometers off the coast, so it wasn't like in bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
So at least it was, I guess it had that going for it. They also eventually later that day sent another 6 ships to the area where contact was lost. And at one point, they also had 3 submarines, 5 planes, and in total 21 warships. So, they were searching like motherfuckers for this. Like, where did it go? Australia, Singapore, and India initially responded to assistance because obviously they're the closest neighbors to Indonesia that have, naval and military power to help in the search. Then the US, Germany, France, Russia, Turkey, and Thailand also offered assistance. So at least everyone's like, hey, we can help you find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Like we said on the MH370, the plane that went missing, finding anything on the ocean floor is good luck.
Yeah.
At about 7 a.m. on the day it went missing, so this was actually a couple hours before it was reported missing by the military, publicly, and to that NATO, whatever, search and rescue fucking organization. They were doing flyovers with planes, the Indonesian military, and they could see oil spills on the surface around sort of the area, the last contact. So obviously they were like, well, we believe this is where the sub went underwater, so it has to be here somewhere. Then a Indonesian warship in the area, a more advanced one of their newer ones, had detected on sonar some object moving underwater at a speed really slow, 2.5 knots, which is 4.6 kilometers an hour. But it wasn't able to keep long enough to identify contact before it disappeared off the sonar. But so what they think is maybe the bits of debris were still sinking down really slowly to the ocean floor. The warship may have been able to pick it up. So then 3 days later, on the 24th, after it went missing, the Navy announced that the debris had been found, including parts associated with torpedo tubes, Andy's favorite thing, coolant pipe insulators, a bottle of periscope grease. So, not stuff your average Joe just fucking dropped in the water.
By the way, and one of the other things I'm going to be using tonight is periscope grease.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's what we use.
And then tomorrow morning you might want this last thing they found, prayer rugs, because you're going to be
probably
fucking begging for forgiveness. So yeah, the debris was found within 10 nautical miles of the last point of contact, and no other vessels were in the area, so it's not coming from any other submarine.
Okay, I might be a retard. What the fuck is a nautical mile? What's the difference between a fucking mile and a nautical mile?
I looked it up once and I don't remember. They're almost the same, but they're not quite the same. I don't know. Boat people, man, they're special. They need knots. A knot is what I do on a rope.
It's like a mile an hour. Just don't talk about knots. And knots is something you put in a rope, you dumb fuck.
Exactly. Or in your fucking tubes when you're a dude, so you don't have kids anymore.
Just let the water in the torpedo tube and
doesn't it have to do with the water friction sort of as you're traveling?
Probably. I don't know. Look, people that work on boats are weird, okay? If you work on a boat and you listen to this, you're fucking weird.
Yeah, that is true.
You do have to be special. You're stuck in bumfuck nowhere, and if something goes wrong these poor fuckers, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah. I think Deadliest Catch was an eye-opener for everyone to know how fucked up you have to be on a boat.
Yeah, and they're all ice-smoking rednecks that sleep once every 7 weeks. We got this crawfish, woohoo! Now we can eat.
It's not crawfish.
Oh, whatever, Batman. Jesus Christ, you're a party pooper today.
You can get crawfish in the ocean.
Jesus Christ, what, I look like a fucking expert? I just said boat people are weird. You think I've been on one to go out fishing? I've been fishing twice and I vomited both times because I get very bad seasickness.
Oh no, my dad actually had a boat. A fishing boat, a small fishing boat of 11 meters, I think. And we went shrimp fishing, just on the ocean and shit like that. And it was fun. So I spent a lot of time in my youth on a boat. I think it's a very enjoyable experience if you're an experienced hands.
Yes.
I think the dumbasses are the ones that buy the speedboat and then
Go
like,
out on the lake.
Go out on the lake. Like it's not fucking like boating or
smash
like
75 beers and then wonder why they crashed into that kid on
Yeah.
the jet ski.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
all right, you couldn't even fucking see.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
That
the
is true.
ocean can be a very fun place, but like it's like international waters just scares the fuck out of me. Like the moment I think about that, I always think about like the person in the floaty, and then you see the big mouth underneath it, and like that's my vision of what.
Like as soon as there is no land in any direction, there is just a horizon.
That must be so fucked, right? If you look around you and you see butt fuck nothing.
Yeah. Can't say I would join a submarine crew or Deadliest Catch anytime soon. But all right, let's continue. So eventually, later that day, on the 24th, a sonar, they did like a more direct sonar scan with like a way better technology. Because like a lot of their military boats, obviously, you know, they're not the wealthiest country, so they didn't have the most prime technology. So I think they ended up getting some help from the US for this. They ended up finding the wreckage with a rough estimate at 850 meters deep on the ocean floor. It's like 2,800 feet for Freedom Unit people. Like I said, it was supposed to be crushed at 500 meters, so it's well and truly fucking blown straight past that.
Yeah, beyond that point.
Yeah, and normal operating depth for this type of thing, where they're going to shoot the torpedoes, like 200 meters. So they're like 4x like deeper.
Yeah.
The next day on the 25th, they brought like a even more like accurate. They did another scan again and found the exact point, which is 838 meters. And it was only 1,400 meters from where it had dived. Because I guess you would think like it would dive down slowly, right, and kind of keep moving forward.
Well, it depends what broke, I guess. Did they know what actually happened? Like, did they have a...
Not exactly, but there's two main theories, which we're going to get to very shortly.
I think if, for example, like imagine slicing with a sword through the entire hull, like from one end to the other, it would completely fill up with water and go immediately down. Like that's my idea of a boat, like a submarine that like immediately sinks. If you have that one leak and it starts filling up compartment after compartment, then you would have that slow descent. Like that's the thing that makes the most sense in my head.
Ali, what do you think happened?
Torpedo arrow.
Was that words?
Torpedo arrow.
Torpedo arrow. Okay.
I don't know.
What, did they forget to flood the tube? And just fucking boom! God damn it, Dave, you fucking idiot.
It's always Dave. Always.
Or is it Dave?
I thought it was Kevin.
Yeah, true. So it usually is a Kevin, too. So eventually they send, after like finding it on sonar, they sent like one of those cool, you know, those like remote submersibles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's like remote control things. So they sent one of them down and they could see that it was in 3 very distinct parts. Like it had been broken into 3 pieces, sitting on the ocean floor. So as I mentioned before, the initial thing could have been that it was a power outage. After finding the debris, Admiral Udo Margona said that the sub probably or may have cracked and split rather than exploded.
Yeah.
Potentially ruling out a torpedo explosion, because an explosion should have been picked up by sonar detectors in the area.
Yeah.
Okay.
But an Indonesia People's Representative Council, which is like their like one of their chambers of government. So this guy's a government, like a minister in the government.
Yeah.
And he's a former retired army major general. Tobagus Hassanuddin suspected that sorry, I forgot to say as well. The submarine had been retrofitted in 2012 in Korea, like, you know, upgraded with more modern tech and all of that.
Yeah.
He said he suspected that the work carried out in this 2012 retrofit in South Korea may have not been done properly.
So it was like technical malfunctions.
Maybe. So
Yeah.
he's sort of throwing shade at South Korea.
Okay.
He stated that he states anyway, he believes that after the retrofit to the submarine, the sub had actually failed a torpedo firing test previously, and that had resulted in 3 deaths. He claims. He also claimed that the Nanggala exceeded its designed capacity of 38 crew, because like I said, it had 53 people. He claims it's supposed to only have 38 people on board.
Okay.
So maybe it was, I don't know, overweight or whatever, but I don't know. But Admiral Udo Margono refuted these claims and saying that, the submarine was combat ready. It was doing a combat training exercise. It had a letter of acceptance from the government, and it had a successful history of firing torpedoes. So basically, this guy's full of shit and just stirring the shit.
Yeah.
But then a Korean newspaper called the Hankuk Ilbo, or Ilbo, no idea if it's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Claimed that submarines must undergo maintenance every 6 years, which I guess makes sense when you're putting people hundreds of meters underwater. You want to make sure it's pretty, you want to look after it.
Yeah.
But they claimed, this newspaper, that the Nanggala, this submarine, hadn't been touched since the 2012 retrofit. So it'd be 3 years overdue for maintenance.
I guess so, but you'd expect if they were retrofitting that they would do such an immense good job that you don't have to retake that every 6 years, that they give a sort of guarantee, you're good for this amount of time.
Yeah, true. But
I don't
still,
think the
if you're putting
would...
people's life at risk, you should follow regulation.
Yeah, it's exactly why you think that the army would take care of this, as they, because I work in a factory, right? And when you buy a machine, they're like, oh, you're good for 10 years now, and after 10 years we have to come back every 2 years for maintenance. And so you use that machine for a good 10 years. What I'm saying is an exaggeration, but I'm just giving an example.
Mm-hmm.
So then every 2 years somebody comes by, and you don't even have to call anybody for that. It's a contract you sign, and it happens automatically.
Yeah.
And so you would think that in a place like the army, that would be just a standard. So somebody missing their fucking appointment for that, I'd highly doubt that. But then again, this is Indonesia. So
yeah. Well, and this is just a claim by a Korean newspaper, right? After a member of parliament kind of threw shit at South Korea.
Yeah.
So who knows what is what here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We could have just been that maybe South Korea had certain regulations that they had to follow after the upgrade of the submarines, and obviously they would know if someone were touching it.
Yeah, true.
So,
and from what I know, when I read into it, it's of course, of all the military aircraft, it's submarines and aircraft are, of course, the two things that are prio one. If there's anything wrong with it, it's fixed. Yeah. Because, either you're in the sky flying around at 2,000 kilometers an hour and, something goes wrong, you're dead. You're underwater, something goes wrong, you're dead.
Yeah.
So
that's why they don't give a shit about the tank people.
Yeah, but dude, they're just literally in fucking body armor.
Yeah.
A huge fucking thing of body armor. Fucking tankers, man. They're the pussies of the military. I'm claiming it right here. Get out of your tank and fucking start fighting.
I do not want to fuck with a tank person.
To be fair, I don't want to fuck with anyone from the military because you have to be nuts just to join them in the first place. But whatever.
I wouldn't mind.
So now we get to
having
the theories.
Some of them water my torpedo hole, but that's
sure, why not?
Personal opinion.
So let's refresh. Ali, what did you say? Torpedo
I don't know.
malfailure, right?
Yeah.
And Dave went boom boom. And Andy, you said...
But I don't know how the wreckage looks like. If the wreckage is crumpled, then I would...
No,
it was in three pieces. It was in 3 pieces. Split into 3.
Somebody didn't water their hole properly. I'm going with... Yeah.
All right.
I'm going with Ali's. Not with Ali's hole, but Ali's story.
You know what? Anything's right for the price.
I fucking hate you two. I fucking hate you.
All right. Let's preface all of this by saying they don't currently, there's no official conclusion because obviously this only sunk 11 days ago as of recording. So it's still pretty fresh.
Yeah, but Alex, that's why the people listen to this show. You got to come up with the fucking answers here, buddy.
Oh, I'm going
you can't
to. I'm
leave
going
us
to.
on a
Don't worry.
cliffhanger.
Jesus, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, because who would trust the government to actually take care of a mission with 55 people and actually put in time and effort to figure out what the fuck happened?
Chill, man. We're getting there. But I'm just saying they haven't even got the wreckage yet because it's so far underwater. They're not even sure yet if they should bother because it's going to cost so much money.
I'm just over here in Belgium waiting for a Kraken story, is all I'm saying.
You know what? We can throw a Kraken in probably in theory, sure. Here is where it gets fun. So, we've heard maybe power outage, maybe explosion.
Mm-hmm.
What about if it was a thing called an internal wave or an underwater wave?
A what?
These are real.
Yeah.
These are real. I looked into them. They're real.
Okay.
So a senior Indonesian naval official suggested actually earlier this week as of recording, so a few days ago, that the sub may have actually been sunk by an underwater wave, which is called an internal wave.
So the wave would have hit it. It would have hit something and made it like what? Not?
I'll explain. So an internal wave is like, especially they only happen in certain parts of the world, or they're more prominent in certain parts of the world.
Yeah.
Places like Indonesia, in this strait where they were, the Indonesian Strait, because hot water meets cold water, so you get a whole bunch of undercurrents that cause the water so you get a lot of turbulence underwater. And also the ocean, like the topology, like of the ground underneath, like, there's like mountains and peaks and valleys underwater there. So they get these like updrafts and downdrafts of current.
I get it. So the cold water would flow over a mountain and then push up against the warm water, and that would sort of form an under. Oh, okay, yeah,
like
I get
a wave,
that. Yeah.
These waves can be up to 100 meters, like deep or tall. Like, so you compare that to like an above, like what a big one above water is, like 30 meters, like 100 feet. This is like triple that, 3-4
like
times.
Tsunami wave.
Yeah, more. These are fucking enormous.
Yeah. How much was the tsunami wave in Thailand?
I think that would have only been around like 20 or 30 meters. Maybe, not even. Isn't that a tidal wave, whatever they call them? Doesn't matter. So, like, but internal waves, like, they're actually nothing new to submariners. They're actually, like, one of the most feared things for people on submarines, even going as far back as World War II. Like, a lot of troops submariners didn't want to go through the Strait of Gibraltar because that's a similar place because you get the Mediterranean Sea meets the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And they also have these underwater waves. So a lot of submariners, like, almost refused to go. And actually the British military or Navy for a period deliberately avoided sending submarines through the Strait of Gibraltar because it was too dangerous.
Because of that.
Because of these underwater waves.
So what happens to a submarine if it hits one of those waves?
Well, basically, what happens? Well, there's actually an example here.
Does it get flipped over? Does it get flipped over, or does it?
I don't think so. But like so in 1984, there was a Soviet submarine that was actually underneath a tanker that was on the surface of the water, like a big container ship, whatever. It ended up, an underwater wave came and actually pushed the sub up. So it was going on top of the wave and it smashed into the tanker and crashed.
Fucking hell.
Like the submarine hit the tanker because a wave, like they were just cruising underneath and then they're like out of nowhere, all of a sudden the sub just went like whoop, like really quickly up and just smashed into the ship.
Jeez.
I see how that could like combine with changes in pressure and shit like that. Like how would.
So the theory here is that as this Indonesian submarine was diving, the opposite happened. So instead of being on top of the wave, it was being pushed down by the wave as it was going down. So it just kept on going and going and then it snapped because of the pressure and
and probably way too fast as well.
Oh yeah,
the speed must be.
Yeah. By all well, that's the same thing like with the Soviet one. Like you think, if it hits the tanker, it must have been like, not that far underneath. But like obviously they have safe operating, procedures.
Yeah, I know, but
but the wave pushed it so much that they couldn't stop it. It just went boom, and they just hit the surface of the water.
Fucking hell!
The ship.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll use kind of comparison to like the real life tsunamis we've seen, like the one in Thailand and Japan.
Yeah.
Like it happens. The force which it hits, enormous. And for comparison in height, we were talking wave heights. I looked it up. The tsunami wave that hit in Thailand, which is the most known, obviously, that was 25 meters. And you're talking waves that are 100.
About 100 underwater.
Yeah, underwater.
Fucking hell.
And especially in this case, like if they're a sub and they're already going down at some speed, right? And then they just get a push from nature. And like there was actually, they asked an admiral, a rear admiral of the, like this week about this, if it was possible. And his comments were like, quote, if it was an internal wave, that would be like nature we're up against. We would be dragged down by the waves, sending us to a quick descent. No one can fight nature. We would all be dead. Which is basically, so that's the main. It's either that or a torpedo exploded, but like obviously, like one of the guys said, if the torpedo exploded, it should have been picked up by like sonar and like
but wouldn't the
activities.
Debris also, like the wreckage, you would see impact?
Yeah, that's another thing. So they think this is more like a crush, like, and instead of completely crushing, it just snapped at like the stresses on the front and the back capsule sort of snapped it from the middle. So 3 pieces just went, and then it just fell to the bottom of the ocean.
What if it just keeled over, but it bended? Like
maybe
bended and just snapped.
From what I gather, the power of these waves could have done that. It may not have. It could have pushed it like and twisted it.
Or do these waves just go up and down? They don't push back, but they just go up and down.
They sort of From what I gather, they kind of oscillate. They go up and down. So if it's going up in one part, it's going down like further back in the ocean somewhere.
Well, speed of waves, it's you don't fuck with it. Like I that was another information that I looked up. Like the tsunami wave when it came in, they travel at 800 kilometers per hour. So that's like
800.
800. So that's like
speed of a jumbo jet flying like international.
Yes, that's the speed.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if you've ever been down at a really...
Can't say I make a habit of hanging out at tsunamis. But...
No, but just like in comparison, like at a regular beach.
Yes.
Well, you know, because I've been there with you, Boomer Beach in Adelaide.
The harbour down there.
Yeah. Once you get hit by the fucking waves, you're fucked. Like there's this beach like an hour drive from where Alex lives in Australia, and the waves are just like they're constant coming in.
They come straight off the Antarctic and Southern Ocean, so they're like cold and fucking just there's no protection. It's like straight up into the water. And
I don't know how many times I almost drowned. We went there twice and I don't want to do it.
But you get a lot of undercurrent because the cold water comes from the Southern Ocean, and then the land is really hot in summer, and you get like this weird underdraft where your legs like get sucked out to sea, but the top of you is being pushed by the wave towards the land.
You would think after Ali drowned once, she would have been like, well, I'm getting out of the water, but no.
For some reason, you keep fucking going back in. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun the first few times when you keep holding your body like, oh yeah, I can do this, and then all of a sudden like one waves hit you from underneath, it tumbles you over. As you're trying to get up, you're actually going down, but when you finally manage to get up, you're getting hit by another water, swung the other fucking way, you're fucked. I just woke up like...
Yeah, and imagine basically being that, but underwater in a submarine, in a compressed capsule under hundreds of meters.
But I would like the most likely thing that I would figure is that what would actually happen was that the boat didn't have time to adjust, because I'd imagine these boats, like I have no knowledge of submarines, like none whatsoever. But I would imagine that a sharp descent, even like faster than that, it would have been, because these boats have to depressurize as they go further, or pressurize the further they go down. So what might have happened was that the boat didn't have time to pressurize itself towards the new depth it was until it was past a point where it could like equally put pressure inside. Yeah. And it would just go...
Yeah, well, actually, a professor from some university, I think in like from Florida or something, he's the only man there that makes sense that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
He was talking about this underwater wave thing, and he said what probably happened, in his opinion, like probably without knowing all the facts, is it was in like a low power mode as well on the sub, because they're trying to pretend they're doing like covert operation. You don't want to be heard. So they're like, he's like, if a wave, and they're just like slowly sinking down to go do their tests, like almost running on minimum power. And then all of a sudden, if this wave came, it's like you can't turn the engine up quick enough to possibly power out of it or change direction.
So
like you're done.
What I get from that is I'm equally smart than a professor.
Yeah, you're a professor, Professor Androlomy from Belgium.
Yeah,
University of
Don't
at
say
Random
it.
Podcast.
Oh, okay.
I was not going to say the Black People Zoo. Jesus Christ, what do you take me for?
You can't, like, that's not.
We'll bleep
That's
that
not
out.
okay.
So at least one, well, it's not really a positive, but in posthumously, the Indonesian president, Joko Widodo, promoted all of the sailors on the ship. So all 53 got a posthumous promotion in the military. Not that it means much to them now, but
good.
They died as national
I'm sure their
heroes.
children and wives are so happy.
Yeah, but they died
It's
as
like-
national heroes, I guess. But not that it means anything.
So next Christmas,
the
they'll all
only
be
positive thing to take out of this fucking story is that they probably died very quickly. Let's put it like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it depressurized like these guys, they were just dead.
Yeah, that's the
I
only
imagine.
positive.
But what a
They
way
were
to go,
just.
But imagine,
It's
like, if
horrible.
the front of the ship just snaps. Like, you're probably hearing all these creaks and, like, what the fuck? Like, but maybe not, though, right? Because if the ship was accelerating real quick and you didn't expect it, you're getting, like, thrown, like, around the fucking submarine, like, banging your head on stuff. Because it's still pressurized inside. So you're, like, smacking your head on stuff.
They don't make these ships fluffy as well. Like,
No,
there's
it's just
no
metal.
fluff everywhere.
I don't know, like, as you're talking about it and explaining this underwater waves, like, I would imagine, like, if they were to come in contact with this, the impact would be enough to at least crack something quite fast to depressurize very quickly, which would mean that they would die
which
instantly.
sort of adds into the theory of, like, that's why it's in, like, I guess it's not 3 perfect pieces, right? But it's, like, 3 very distinct sections.
Yeah.
Whereas they're like, if it was an explosion, it should probably kind of just be, like, all over the place, and then we should have crumbled and, like, compressed, like.
I guess so, yeah.
But no, we don't know yet, because, and like I said, they're not sure if they're going to even go and get the wreckage, because there's, like, at that depth, it's like, it doesn't sound that much. Like, if you compare it to a plane, right? Like, a plane can fly at, 40,000 meters or whatever, or 20,000 meters.
Yeah, but underwater,
it's only 800 meters, but I read there's only a few companies and countries in the entire world that have the ability to go that deep and, like, salvage wreckage.
But there's a reason why we as a humankind haven't discovered, what is it, more than...
Like 1% of the ocean.
I think it's like 6% of the depths of the ocean.
But that's the other thing I was reading is, like, apparently as well, a lot of these navies, especially places like in Indonesia, like navies that aren't the wealthiest, like they haven't spent all the money that America, China, and like Russia has spent on like mapping the ocean floor.
Oh, dude, if they would have just stopped with their fucking wars and invest the money they use in wars, just fucking to explore what we have on this planet, we probably would all have free electricity. We'd have floating cars, and everybody.
How about we just leave it though? Because we already know what humans does when they discover something.
Yeah.
Let's leave it. We've already fucked the ocean enough.
I'm just saying, one of the threats with if you look at all the accidents, like a lot of the accidents, like of course America's overrepresented because they have the most submarines.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a lot of Asian countries.
Yeah.
Because most of them don't have the money to map the ocean floor, and they're using old maps or whatever. And it's like, so that's why some of them ground, because like they didn't know that the ocean floor was not as deep as they thought it was when the submarine was because like they don't have the same technology and money to invest that other militaries do.
I still can't see the floor, buddy. Like, just keep going. Well, it'll be there eventually.
Bitch,
like,
imagine if they had windows in a submarine. I mean, it'd be pointless because you wouldn't see fuck all. But like,
close the curtains. Cool. I'm getting scared.
Can you turn on my night light, please?
Yeah.
Please, Admiral, turn it on. Shut the fuck up, pussy.
Trying to sleep in my fluffy, comfortable bed.
But but I mean that's it. Obviously, it's very sad for the families and people that lost their lives. And
no, it's not sad. I mean, they all got promoted, so I don't know what everybody's talking about.
But imagine that your last moment was just knowing like you're dead. Like no one is coming to fucking stop this.
And how fucked up is it to give somebody a promotion that died?
It happens a
Like,
lot.
But it's a
what
lot of
even
it's like
is
honor thing, right?
Like what? Yeah, okay, like fine, and call them fucking heroes. I don't give a shit. Like, I mean, these people died. They have nothing with a Like, I'm sure that next fucking Christmas, the families won't be like, how's do you still think about Steven a lot? Oh, you mean honor medal Steven? No, they'll be crying. I mean, these people will be
true.
fucking missing their
And I think it's even worse because it was a training exercise. Like it wasn't even
it wasn't
even warfare,
battle.
right?
Yeah,
it wasn't a battle. It was just like
that's
just
like
testing
that's like
torpedoes.
training your entire life to join the Olympics and then coming in second. That's the same fucking feeling.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm a silver medalist. Like it still means you lost.
But it's fucked for the people involved and for the families. The hearts and minds go out to those people.
It does.
Like
and watch
it's
Dust
fucked.
Boot if you want to like get an idea of like what being in a submarine is like.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job of capturing the terror, even though it is a movie. But they did a good job. And
Listen, as long as the German English accent is on like tip top.
oh no, it's
shit.
German. It is in German. You have to watch this. I'm pretty sure, right?
It's
It was
even
German,
more
wasn't it?
boring. I just
It's German.
Yeah, but it's better than that crappy English, like pretend
but
German
when I
accent.
watch a pretend German, I'd like to hear them talk like this a little bit. You know, it sort of excites me. Did you put the water in the torpedo hole?
Oh yeah, Daddy, flood that torpedo hole.
Ah, flooded good, ja.
Ja,
Das ist-
das ist gut. Oh.
Ja, super geil geworden. Super dreckig.
All right, Ali,
Oh,
get us out of this.
Kacken Sie da einen Schmetterling? That's a butterfly in German.
A what?
A Schmetterling.
Who let Germans
I
invent
swear to
a
God,
language?
they
Like,
shouldn't
Jesus
have their
Christ.
own language because, like, in English, like it's butterfly. You know, even
What is it in
even
Belgium?
Dutch, vlinder, which it's a
Yeah,
lovely
it sounds-
word.
Look, I don't
Vlinder.
like Dutch
It
very much,
sounds
but that
happy
sounds nice.
It sounds okay.
Yeah, it
In
sounds
French,
nice.
it's French. It's un papillon.
Sounds
You
pretty
know?
nice.
What is it
And
in
Germans
Spanish?
are just like whatever the gibberish he said.
Spanish. Butterfly.
Yeah.
Mariposa.
Oh, mariposa. Poquito maricas.
And then in Italian, it's probably mariposo. Because it's basically the same. Instead of an A, they put an O on stuff.
Yeah.
Or an I.
And then you have the Germans, and it's like
Oh, thank God people not on Discord right
join
now.
the Discord server. Link in the
Yes,
description
on that
down
note.
below.
Yes,
You'll
do
be
that.
able to watch us live and see the things you just missed because I did something very rude. But join the Discord server. The link is in the description down below. Of
Indeed.
course, we got a Twitter page and we got a Instagrammies.
Yeah, the Instagram is @random.podcast.
Jeez, give it some beans, woman.
Jesus Christ.
Give some enthusiasm. for
Yeah,
once in
just
your life.
flood that torpedo shoot. Come on, dude.
I want that periscope grease. I want it moist. I want it slimy.
What the-
So Instagram @random.podcast,
There we go.
at.random.podcast.
There we go. And on Twitter,
Oh,
we are
so
AT_randompod.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn more about submarines, don't.
Yeah.
They're horrible. It's
yeah,
pretty much that simple.
they are not a good vacation tip. That's what I can
No.
tell you.
They're not a good vacation. And if you're a government out there, they seem like a very bad investment when they keep crashing all the fucking time. Maybe just don't invest in them.
This was to the politicians out there.
Yep. You're a fucking
okay.
idiot. Give me that $100 million and trust me, I'll put it to better
And
use.
tell the truth about
Bet you
aliens.
those guys would still be alive.
Tell the truth about aliens and how they're sinking our submarines.
It was the gay frogs, man. And on that
was a
bombshell,
gay. Yeah, it was a gay.
they
frog.
created internal waves.
Yeah.
When they
right.
ejaculate,
Let's let the people go and let them all just.
if you're still here, you're I don't know why you're still here. Just fuck off. See you next week.
Bye.
Get the fuck out of here.
Flood those torpedo holes, people.